30 degrees.
If Indianapolis Center, do you have any test operation to restricted area 2508?
Aries 31, roger. Traffic is quite luminous and is exhibiting some non-ballistic motion, over.
Roger, Aries 31. Continue descent at your discretion, over.
Okay, Center. The traffic is approaching head-on, ultra bright, and really moving. They're right by us right now.
There are 1,000 UFO sightings reported around the world every month. 90% of these sightings can be explained, but 10% cannot. Officially and unofficially, the U.S. military has been investigating UFOs since 1947. Their top secret goal is to find out what's behind these unexplained sightings. The Pentagon classifies them as unusual airborne anomalies, but a better term is X-Files. Join us now as Mack, Wanwan, and Commander Cobra explore these unsolved cases, UFO incidents that baffle even the U.S. military. This is Mack Maloney's Military X-Files. And now, here's Mack Maloney.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. And this is Mack Maloney. What a show we have for you tonight. But first, let's introduce the members of the posse. Girls, get ready. You're sitting down, I hope. Get your fans, your misters, that big box of Kleenex, and that little package of wipes, because the very famous Wanwan is here.
Hello, Mac. Hello, girls. How you doing tonight?
You tell us.
Can't go anywhere without those packages of wipes.
I guess not. I guess not. Oh. So, what's new with you there, Wani? You got the beatnik thing is back.
I've been busy. I got some new shades. Check them out.
New shades. Nice.
New shades.
And a John Lennon
round.
shades. I see a little John Lennon in there. Yep.
Or Harry Potter shades.
Got the hat on. Don't say Harry. Why do you have to ruin it by saying Harry Potter, really? Did you ever read one of those books? One of those friggin' doorstops?
No, I've watched the movies.
Did you really?
Couple of the movies, but
did you fall in love with the girl?
I was forced to watching the movies.
I hear everyone falls in love with the girl.
Oh, yeah, I like the girl.
She's the top, most highly paid Hollywood actress. What's her name? I don't even know.
I forget, but it's amazing how grown up she is.
Maybe Coco.
You see her now, and then you're just so used to seeing her in the movies.
Right. Up there in his compound, no longer a bunker. Okay. All right. He's giving us hand signals, but yeah. Well, whatever that means, they call him Coco on the street. We know him as Commander Cobra. Coco.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for once again letting me join the stellar formation.
Okay. He doesn't say the wing anymore because I think he gets upset when I say chicken wing.
Well, he could be ground
chicken
based
wing
today.
is cute. Just trying to, pick it up a little.
Okay.
Don't want to be in a rut.
I don't think that's ever going to happen here. So, what are you dressed as tonight?
I just have a T-shirt ensemble on tonight. I'm dressed as anything, man.
A T-shirt ensemble. Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. All right.
Well, I have a large griffin on my T-shirt.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it's got the sleeves action going on there with that double T-shirt.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I like it.
That's a little 8 Mile there. Okay. It's not Kathy Griffin either.
Yeah.
Just for you. Okay. So listen, he's in with the, I don't know what the sign language is. That Mohegan or something?
You said 8 Mile. I just wanted to give you a little gang.
Oh, a little shout. Okay.
Aficionado there.
Yep. Okay. Good. It feels like I'm back at home. So
he's plugged in with the gang membership.
Is he? I could see
my gangs are like the woodchucks and the chipmunks up here.
Yes. Well, you get enough of them together.
The mooses show up. The moose.
Yeah. You get a couple thousand of them, they can do a job on you. Are there any moose near where you? Do you see moose up? You must have moose way up where you are.
Occasionally we get them in there. We found a large antler a few years back walking on the property, and one of the neighbors said that he had come across a moose that had fallen through the ice and died.
Ooh.
And he showed me the rack before he left. It was impressive.
Right,
but
yes.
not too often. Occasionally get a few bears come by.
Okay.
One of my neighbors shot the last bear.
Really?
Thing practically ate out of your hands during a motion. So,
and why did he feel he had to shoot him?
I have a lot of coyotes.
Why did he feel he had to shoot him?
A lot of times what will happen is it was hunting season.
I see.
And there's a certain
it's a good enough reason, I guess.
Excitement, I guess, that goes on with that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, huh? Now, just getting back to mises for a second. Aren't they, they're not afraid of humans or something? Don't they walk right up to you? Have you ever heard that?
Generally, They'll sometimes avoid, but when they are when they're rutting or they have young, they'll be very they can be very aggressive, very defensive of their turf or the area that they're around.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I don't blame them.
This has been Moose Minute on Mack Maloney's
Too many people walking around with guns.
Yeah, right. I think they just tend to stay away from people. But they were weird animals because they look like a cross between a deer and a horse or something. You know, it's like two or three different animals.
They're like the North American camel. If you get
like
close
a camel.
To them, they're like a camel with a big rack. I mean, they are they're big animals.
Yeah, you're right. They do have that camel face.
Yeah, right. So, did he just say a big rack?
Yes, big rack.
Where's the sound effects machine?
But I moved it in a really Marlon Perkins kind of Sunday evening Mutual of Omaha kind of way. So if there's any letters or emails in, I can always deflect that. The rack, the big rack I'm talking about was on the moose.
It's like you read about. Yeah.
Was on the moose.
That's a good rack impersonation.
And truly, when you talk about the moose, how can you not talk about Bullwinkle, Rocky the Flying Squirrel,
right,
and that whole menagerie that went on there?
Yep, I used to
One
watch
of my
that.
favorite cartoons of all time.
Used to watch that from my crib.
You got to kill moose and squirrel.
Yeah,
truly the greatest Cold War cartoon next to Spy vs.
Yes, the thing about it.
We laughed about the Cold War with Rocky and Bullwinkle and Natasha and Boris, and we laughed about the real war with Hogan's Heroes.
There you go. Right.
In McHale's Navy.
Yes. Right. That's our history. You know what I mean? I used to watch these shows, Rocky and Bullwinkle, through the rails in my crib, little Mac, around 9 months old. And it was it is still a funny show today. You know, it's one of those shows.
Fractured Fairy Tales.
Yes, kids.
If you ever listen to what is being said in Fractured Fairy Tales, I mean, that was very sophisticated humor that was being tossed out.
Is that the segment that was narrated by Edward Everett Horton?
Yeah. Yep. Never met a martini he didn't like. Listen. But they're funny, but on an adult level, they're also very funny, and they were clever in the early '60s or so. It was. They're still funny today. We used to watch them in college, not that long ago. Anyway, this trip down memory lane is brought to you by Sweetwater Donut Mill, the official donut shop of the Mack Maloney Military X-Files show. Now that everyone's got their hopes up, I have to let you down because no Switchy tonight. No Switchy.
What?
Yeah, he's on a secret mission. Okay, and which to me sounds like
if this is part of the special mission with Sweetwater Donut.
I don't know.
This is in preparation.
We should have been briefed if that's the case, but so we have no idea what he had for breakfast. We had no idea what he had for breakfast, so we should make it up. I'm going to guess. I got a feeling he went back to the Frosted Flakes. That would be that's the vibe I'm getting.
Well, I'm going to check. I had some conversation with him earlier today.
Really? Was he vomiting?
And no. And it was on a touch on the political side. So I'm guessing, based on these messages that he sent, that you're correct, Mac. I think this was definitely a cold milk and
hot coffee.
Yeah, and
probably didn't even put it into the cup. Drank it right out of the pot.
Yeah, that's why bother with the cup?
Had an edge.
Just have to clean
today.
it. Yeah, right.
Which I was happy because I'm working from home today, so he was distracting me from work. So that was
wow, huh?
You ever been in so much of a hurry for coffee you just put your mug right under the unit so that bypasses the corral?
And then you have that thing where you're trying to do the pot and the cup and you're trying to minimize the spillage.
That's right. Do the transfer without spilling a drop.
Yeah.
You ever put your mouth right underneath the thing?
What really makes that complex is the type that you can pull the pot out and it has the spring.
Yes.
So when you do it with the cup, then you have to get in there with your finger and then that's when the big boys and big girls are getting the coffee.
Sounds very complicated.
They get in there and they'll burn to get that coffee.
I don't know. You coffee drinkers, you're crazy.
There's an act to it.
So anyway, did we already talk about what's on the show tonight? Not really, right?
You did off air. I don't think
off
you
air. I knew. I thought it was a dream, but anyway, it might be a dream show because coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking to our favorite Southern belle, Cindy Bailey Dove, the drone expert. And today was a big day in drone history. She's going to tell us about a big day, historic day in drone history when you hear this show. Also coming up later on, we're going to be talking to our good friend Greg Masto, who is a video game expert, virtual reality expert, and he's going to count down the top 10 war video games, that are around right now. War video games, war game videos. I don't know how you say it. There must be a proper way of saying it. But I guess a lot of them are crazy. I'm not familiar with. I saw the list. I'm not familiar with like half of them, but I guess some of them are very, very sophisticated, and you win by a kill count. Okay, win money. So,
really?
Yeah, odd. He's going to be joining. And so then, so we can have equal time on the show, we're going to be talking to our good friends, Reverend Matt and Tanya, those cookie head kids.
That's the Reverend, correct?
Yeah.
They're both Reverends.
They're both Reverends. Right.
Yeah.
Reverends, right. And they've since moved out of their station wagon, I'm assuming, and they're going to be talking about the evils of video games. The evils of video games, okay? So this should be interesting. We should remind people now, let me get some of the plugs out of the way now. We are a podcast. Go to Podbean and look for us. We're on 16 different platforms, and also we're on Apple Podcasts. So if you have an Alexa, say, Alexa, please. No, I don't think you have to say please. Do we screw her up if you say please to her? Do you know?
You just say it.
You just say it?
Hey, Alexa, or just Alexa.
Oh, really? Okay, Alexa.
Just Alexa sufficient.
Okay.
I forgot I got Alexa in my room here.
Is that right? Oh, yeah. You better watch what you say there, brother.
That's right. Hold on.
You might have a knock at the door. Okay, it's say, Alexa, play Mack Maloney's Military X-Files on Apple Podcasts, and we will suddenly be there. It turns out that nearly half of our downloads from Apple Podcasts. Isn't that amazing there, Wani, or am I just a little bit too amazed? You're the tech guy. He's doing addition.
Yes, it is amazing.
Okay, wow. Okay, you got to think a little bit about that.
A lot of followers, but I think it's good that we have so many platforms because now we have we can cross-pollinate the entire universe.
The entire universe.
Our show
okay. Shoot high
on every platform, every phone, the whole deal.
Yeah, right.
Someday we have to put all those platforms that were broadcast on a shirt or something, a billboard.
Shirt. It would have to be an extra large shirt, so back and front.
It'll be fresh in everyone's mind.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, let's bring that up at the next meeting.
Okay. So I can hand it out to people.
So, for free? For free?
To hand out my business card for free. Yeah. Yeah, Mack Maloney business
I see.
card.
I thought you about the T-shirts.
Here's all the platforms our show is on.
Yes.
And people say, send me a link to the show. So I send them a couple of links. And,
you know what I do?
I'm tempted to send, 10 links.
No, I just say, look for us on Google. Google us. If you Google the name of the show, it's like there's 5 pages, and you can just take your pick of whoever you want to, whatever podcast you want to be on. So I just figured that saved.
That works.
That's on the new business cards, by the way. But I could see a T-shirt. You know how like in rock and roll tours, they'll just have like names of cities where the tour went through. We can have it with just places that were on, the platforms. How about that?
Very cool.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Mr. Maloney, before we jump to guests, any updates on soon to be hitting the presses? Some of the works in the written end of your empire?
Thank you, because I completely forgot about it. Yes, the answer is yes. We're in the middle of a Goodreads contest for a copy of The Sea of Moons, Mack Maloney's new military detective series, codename Starman, The Sea of Moons. So if you go to mackmaloney.com, look for the star, click on the star, and you'll get in on the contest when you could maybe win a free autographed book. Okay, The Sea of Moons, codename Starman, based on The Real Life Adventures kind of our good friend Chris, the NCIS agent. I sent him 2 advance copies about a week ago, and I have not heard back from him yet, because I get a feeling he doesn't have a Jaguar with 2 machine guns in it, and I've met his wife. She's lovely, but she could be a world-class model. His girlfriend happens to be a world-class model, and he has ESP for 3 seconds.
3 seconds ESP.
3 seconds. That's his thing. Just enough to duck a punch. Okay. We might have to cut that out. That might be too long of an ad.
A 3-second ESP. That'd be pretty good at the track or at a red light. You have
red light.
2-lane red light.
Yep.
You want to be ahead of the
race car driver. If you're racing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a lot of advantages to it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
at the crap table, maybe.
That's hey, you must have read the book because a lot
does it not work that way?
Well, no, it works. Don't worry. The Sea of Moon starts off at the Encore Casino in Boston.
It does?
Yeah, a lot of action there. Yep.
By name or?
Yeah, by name, baby. Yeah.
Really?
I'm hoping it'll be a big seller and I can get in there free or something. You never know. Anyway, so
you should do a book signing there.
No, I don't think so. People don't go there to buy books, frankly. Any money they go in the door with.
What if there's something in there that the Encore people don't like?
Such as what?
You mentioned the casino by name, huh?
Yeah, sure. Or why?
Just throwing it out there.
You mean because there's Russian gangsters and stuff involved? They're going to get offended?
Yeah.
I never really thought about that.
Yeah, because there's no Russian gangsters in legalized
in Boston.
betting.
No. Why do you?
There's no gangsters of any kind in legalized betting.
One spreading fake news.
Never.
Okay.
He's drifting off into fiction again.
To tell you the truth, now he's got me worried about the phone
ringing.
Crazy kid.
Well, me too. Thank you, Wani.
This is the general manager of the Encore.
Yeah, you want to come down and see us?
Come
on
Mr.
down.
Maloney.
We'll have a little talk. We'll have Tony pick you up. Now the book and the radio show will get sued for. Anyway, look, why don't we take a commercial break?
We've got something to make you shut up.
Yeah. Hey, listen, according to you, I should know enough people down there to get me out of trouble. Between you and Club.
Exactly.
Okay, and also Coco's from Chelsea. Yeah. That's got to be worth something in the bank. So, right?
We're plugged into all those ethnic organizations.
Does the taxi driver uncle with the yacht, is he still around?
I'm sorry he passed away.
Oh, is he really? He's up in heaven. Okay.
Not by gunshots.
No, that's okay. Hey, listen, no, what are you trying to say?
I know. I still haven't figured that out. Even all my relatives haven't figured that out.
Yeah, well, do you want me to figure it out for you?
Do you want me to taxi for ITOA?
Yes, and he had a 40-foot yacht.
Taxi Owners Association.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why? What, are you insulted now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good. Okay, mission accomplished. So listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break now, and we'll be right back, to start the show. Officially, you're listening to Mack Maloney's Mill Tracks, our show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. JJ's here, Coco's here. No switch tonight, but we're guessing he had Frosted Flakes for breakfast. We'll be right back after this.
Where is the Sea of Moons? Is it on the moon? Or in a haunted part of the Pacific Ocean? Or is it just in our heads?
What if you dreamed of meeting a beautiful Irish girl, but she turned out to be a cop? What if you dreamed that you were on TV 24/7, but only the government knew the channel? And what if you dreamed you were shipwrecked on a deserted island and rescued by 5 lovely castaways, only to have some real pirates ruin the party? Then you should wake up and read The Sea of Moons, the latest installment in Mack Maloney's best-selling series, codename Starman. Follow the adventures of U.S. Navy's Special Agent Chris Starr as he travels the globe using his special ESP powers to solve top-secret mysteries. First in Ireland, then in Tahiti, and finally to Hollywood, where Chris and his girlfriend Angel discover the only spooks inside an old haunted house belong to the CIA. That's codename Starman, The Sea of Moons by Mack Maloney. On sale on Amazon and in bookstores everywhere.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military Style Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. What a show we have for you tonight. But first, let me just introduce quickly the members of the posse. Girls, get ready. You've been forewarned. The very famous Juan is here.
Yes, sir. Hello, girls. Hello, Mac. And all ships at sea, welcome to the show.
Mm-hmm. Everything okay with you?
Good one.
You look good.
Weird, too.
You look healthy. Or is it just the lighting?
I do?
I don't know.
Thanks.
Also, up there in his compound.
It's incandescent lamp, I guess.
That's it. Is it a lava lamp? I could see you having a lava lamp, do you?
Nope.
No. Okay.
I love lava lamps.
It's old school incandescent bulb that are outlawed.
Yeah, really outlawed, are they? Why, because they get you high?
I stockpiled a few just for
that. I can have no trouble believing. Up there on his compound, no longer his bunker, looking out at the rest of us, is Commander Cobra.
Good evening, Mac, and as always, a pleasure to be on the wing.
Okay, the chicken wing. See?
Hello, Cobra. Good to see you. Say hi to the animals for me.
What did you
I tried to set up the spike there, 1-1 for the chicken wing, and it just dribbled over the net. What's that all about?
You're right. The key word being dribbled.
What?
What'd you have for breakfast there, Coco?
I had toast this morning.
Toast? Just toast?
Followed by bananas, oranges, and apples.
Really? Yeah? Huh.
Lots of coffee.
Lots of coffee?
Healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots of coffee.
Okay, that's good. Sounds healthy.
Lunch today was a protein shake.
Oh, really? Yeah?
No, really?
You know?
Yeah, protein shake. And then tonight was a turkey ham sandwich.
Turkey ham sandwich.
And chased with yogurt and some Hershey's chocolate.
Oh, my God. Holy cow.
And when this is all over, I'll probably chase the whole evening away with the scotch.
I was going to say, you're not. You should start early. Let's see what happens.
Now you're talking.
Okay. So no Switchy tonight. No Switchy. He's on a secret mission, and we guessed that he had Frosted Flakes for breakfast. So let's move on. Joining us, we have two guests with us right now. A very good friend, Cindy Bailey Dove, down there in Arkansas. We should really give her a round of applause.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thanks for coming on. And let me just introduce our other guest, and then we'll get to your drone report. Our good friend, Greg Masto in North Carolina. Now we have to clap for him so I don't hear
Thank you for having me again.
Hi, Greg. How's things there in North Carolina that you can talk about?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Weather's been just really warm, so
that's good. There's nothing wrong with that
so far.
So Greg's going to be joining us, and he's here with us now. And then in a segment coming up, he's going to want to talk about the top 10 war video games, and also we're going to have a couple other guests who are going to talk about the evils of war video games. So that should be good. But right now, Cindy Bailey Dove down there in Arkansas. How's things down there, Cindy?
It's been storming for 3 days.
Okay.
Yep, that's what it's been doing.
Yep.
And it's going to storm for another 3 days.
Oh, really? Yeah. So 6 days. Okay.
Of rain, yeah.
And what's it usually kind of like summer down there now? Hot?
Well, yeah, it's been real hot. I mean, you go outside because the humidity here is so high.
Yes.
You walk outside before you get to your car, you're sweating.
Really? Yeah.
That's how bad it is. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Sometimes it'll just take your breath away where you can't breathe when you walk out.
Wow. Huh? That's humidity, baby.
Yeah, we had some good humidity in New England, but not that bad.
Yeah, not like that.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, well, you come outside in the morning, all my cars are all fogged up with moisture.
Oh, yeah?
The doors, moisture. I mean, it's almost like it's floating in the air.
Oh, really? Yeah? Okay. Well, that's...
Yeah, it's that bad.
So
yes.
Today is a big day in drone history because if I read the headline right, Amazon was granted the freedom to... The license went through where they can now start their drone delivery services?
Yes. And, UPS already had theirs. They've had theirs for a while. Way this is supposed to work is they're going to have one-day service. They'll have like a blimp over a city. Basically will be a flying warehouse. And the smaller drones will get the packages out and deliver them from that blimp.
Wow.
So... that's how they're going to do it. So,
You say blimp like airship kind of thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Goodyear or something? It's going to say Amazon?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Huge.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
And it's a
Amazon
hub.
Smile.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, that's really the only way they could do it, because they would just park it over a big city, and then these drones are automated, guys. They just,
Oh boy.
yeah, completely autonomous.
That's crazy. Is anyone in the blimp?
Yeah, you're gonna have it. Yeah.
Would the blimpy man, Coco? Would the blimpy man? I can't imagine them setting up a robot blimp with all these little.
I imagine their goal would be to make that autonomous as well.
Really?
Because you wouldn't, when you put people into the mix, then you have to have rest facilities.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Food and all that
benefits.
kind of stuff.
It's another Hindenburg.
But they may be going back and forth, shuttling back and forth to the airship.
Nuts, man. That's nuts. That is nuts.
As you know, I think they're smoking crack to pull this off.
What?
And from the business standpoint, here you are, you're going to stock things that are needed in a region, in a city to do this. Okay. And the average consumer will turn on a dime given whatever is going on. And now you have a flying warehouse full of stuff that you can't
probably don't need. Yes, right.
Now you got to come and land.
Yeah,
offload your and Amazon has such a great track record for their employees. I can't imagine there was people putting their hand up. Put me on the air service part of Amazon.
They must love this. Hey, listen,
might be a fun gig though.
Yeah, but I don't think anything at Amazon's a fun gig.
Inventory control in the blimp.
Hey, Greg, you're in this. You're in IT. You're in high tech.
I could volunteer for that. That'd be cool.
Do you see this happening, Greg? Big.
As long as I don't hear a tape that says, "Oh, the humanity."
See, you had to drag the Hindenburg into it.
Greg, do you think of?
Do you see this?
Every time I see blimp or airship, I think of the cover on Led Zeppelin 1.
Want to sing a little for us?
What? Some Led Zeppelin tracks from?
Yes. No. Hey, Greg.
No.
You're in the high-tech world. This is going to be a reality. Do you see this as a reality? The big blimps over New York and hundreds of drones coming out of it. It's too sci-fi in a way.
I mean, we've already had drones and blimps. I remember a few years ago at a wedding, a family member had a drone, just take pictures, kind of take overhead shots for their wedding photos. We did not do that, as I know now. Well, we didn't want to, but
right.
Yeah, it's just a new kind of convenience, something that maybe we'll get used to, but something that'll just sound so out of the blue at first. But yeah, I also have concerns just with all those flying around and just trying to manage all that.
Yeah, how do you do that? If they're all yes.
I guess what I don't understand is how they make this profitable. How many pieces they have to move to make this work? Because these autonomous drones that Cindy's talking about are required to be able to send out a signal so other aircraft can see them.
Right.
They also have to be able to deviate.
Yes.
They have to deviate around each other aircraft.
Right.
And we all know that the stuff never goes wrong. I mean, my most precious times in an aircraft has been those moments when everything is not working the way it's supposed to, as opposed to all the dull time when everything did work.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry. There's supposed to there is a under 400 feet commercial drone lane. So, that's what they're going to be flying in.
But you're not going to park a drone at 500 feet and drop these at 400 feet. That's not going to happen.
I understand. Well, this is the problem I have. Not only all of these people have spent, and I'm going to tell you, billions on this. This has been in the works for years.
Yes.
So they apparently, these transport companies, they believe this is going to happen because UPS, all of them have spent tons of money on this idea.
Right.
Because it gets rid of people. And that's the object of every corporation now, is to get rid of people.
Yes.
That's their autonomous or whatever, auto and everything you can think of, guys, is being automated.
Right.
That's right.
Even
that's
radio guys.
And basically, people are money. People's money.
Yes.
Insurance, you guys.
They get sick. They go on vacation.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Health care.
And
they join unions.
Yeah.
Well, and that's going to give them a big boost if this works by getting rid of all these people. And Amazon right now has warehouses that are completely autonomous.
Yep.
They got little robots running around doing everything.
That technology's been around 40 years.
Wow.
It has.
That's not the part that I always come back to, that I try to figure out where this is the huge advantage. I guess if you're Amazon, you want to take out Walmart and every other brick and mortar retailer
right.
Off the face of the earth. Fantastic. And I guess what will happen is guys like me will become renegades, because we're not going to have airspace to fly our aircraft anymore, because it's too important for society to fly their toilet paper in from the big blimp in the sky.
Right.
And I guarantee you, that's not going to go easy with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's another problem with this. All of these drones are capable of surveillance,
Yes.
and filming. This brings up a whole issue of privacy, because we've got electric company is using these drones. They'll come down the pole and check. That's how they'll check them. Stupid, but they're recording.
Yes.
And the only law there is that they have to get rid of it after 3 years. Well, if you're in your swimming pool or hot tub,
you're
going to be recorded.
There you go, Juan.
This is the whole problem with all of these things. I mean, there's no privacy at all.
Right.
And that's why I started talking about this in the first place, because I wanted people to know how we're being surveilled all the time.
It's Cindy brought this up. Cindy brought this up on our old show at least 5 or 6 years ago. You actually said someday this is going to happen. Drones back then, we really even didn't know what they were, and now they're more abundant now. And we're going big airships over New York, little drones coming out of it. It sounds like too crazy. And today they got the okay to do it. So I can imagine they're going to do it. If they got the okay to do it, this is their plan. As Coco said, I don't understand how this is fiscally viable. So it's going to cost you less money to have a blimp over friggin' New York City with all these drones delivering, pencil sharpness to the people in the.
Maybe it isn't to be the cheapest. Maybe it's to be the only one. That's right. And then you pay the price of freight that's there. I mean, so you have a blimp. You have your airship.
Yes.
And we're used to 13 different types of cereal.
Yes.
Well, now we're going to have 4.
No,
because there isn't.
I'm glad Switch isn't here.
Stores to go to deliver it.
They're probably safe process.
Brick and mortar business.
Right.
Yeah.
They will have less product.
And we can save the planet, because we won't be driving vehicles between cities and moving commerce.
Wow.
And what we do drive will be electric.
Did he say save the planet?
All the electricity comes from the magic rock in the woods. No one can ever tell me, since we don't like nuke anymore, where the electricity comes from.
Right.
And it won't be any problem, because the unicorns will be following the rainbows. They won't get in the way of the UAVs.
So it's good news all around, then, isn't it? But
Cobra, I got some party that's really going to set your hair on fire.
Here we go.
I doubt it, but you take your best shot there,
Go ahead.
Okay, this is from Think Magazine, and the title is Military AI Vanquishes Human Fighter Pilot in F-16 Simulations.
That's correct. And the big word that I want you to put in there, simulation.
That's
the part I love best about that.
Go
it's
ahead.
A fantastic algorithm that they wrote for AI on that.
What are you talking about?
Tremendous program that they wrote. I think it's outstanding. But there's a couple problems that they don't like to talk about in the article. A single engine fighter jet going against this, no maneuvering outside of it, and of course all the in tight game.
What are we talking about? What are we
you guys all are ready to sign up and say that the machines won, I wish you all luck.
What are we talking about?
Well, this is what Hagel come out with what they were going to spend all their money on for the next year. Who knows if it's changed now? But one of the things was drones.
Yes.
And nanotechnology.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, and making drones miniaturized. And that reminds me, there was a story out. This was in England where they got a nano drone.
Oh, cool.
So this is a little tiny drone,
right,
that they can use for surveillance and stuff. But we've had those for a while here in America.
But let me
they got. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to just for a second go back to when you're saying that these drones now back to Amazon drones that they're going to have surveillance capability. Right. And one of the things that they said at the beginning of all this was, so they deliver a package at your house. They're going to get a picture of your car. They say, they need a new car. Their roof needs a new roof. Their lawn has crabgrass.
Right.
And then they sell that information to to the crabgrass people, the car companies,
exactly
and the roofing company. And the next thing you know, then you're going to get overloaded with crap from roofing companies and lawn companies, because they don't care about you. They're selling that information, and whether you buy it or not, who cares, And I can see that.
No, they already, they sell our information every day. This will just be, more information they can get from us.
Right.
Mac, the advertising angle, as distasteful it is what bothers me. What bothers me is when government makes a decision on how they're going to do something.
Yes.
And now when the drone comes by, it's also, as Cindy was talking about on the utility side, it talks to the smart electrical meter. And it says, hey, you know what? You're running your air conditioning at 68 degrees.
Right.
And we mandated that all air conditioning is 72 degrees.
Yeah.
And now the other drone shows up and starts taking the pictures.
Yep.
And now you go under surveillance because you've broken some law, nothing that was passed by any state legislation or federal government, because we don't do that anymore. That's passe to follow the Constitution.
Yes.
Just some regulation that we threw together one afternoon on a Friday before we all headed out of the office. And now this is going to be how it's going to be enforced.
Wow.
Your power's going to get shut up.
Here's Washington calling right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're going to be everything, in your yard. Say your yard's completely junked up.
Yes.
Well, they're going to, and that's, against the law in the city.
Yes.
They're going to come get, be on you for that.
Yes.
This is, people our age are not used to being surveilled all the time, because we grew up in the 60s and 70s when the government didn't spy on you.
Oh, wow, Cindy.
I'm not quite sure that's true.
Well, okay, they spied on us, but not like now.
Well,
we like to watch a lot more sporting is what I would like to say.
Right, yeah.
This is what I've been trying to tell people, wake up, because basically they've been flying these drones, you probably know this, for 40 years all over America. I found a government document from 1988 where a congressman was complaining about all the military drones all over America. And that was in 1988. Yep. Sorry, my voice is going. Yeah, so.
Well, listen, I know, and you used to live near an airport that drones flew out of, right?
They still do.
Wow.
Every day. Yep.
Well, as Greg said, these are weird things now. In 5 years, it'll be, commonplace, I guess. I don't know. It's still really kind of weird.
Well, what I found strange, too, is people in ufology for years talked about AI.
Yes.
Well, when they got ready to release this AI, they don't come on TV. All of a sudden, you'll start getting commercials on your phone about a company that has AI.
Yes.
And then they'll just start talking about it, and then all of a sudden, everybody thinks, well, it's been here the whole time.
Yes, right.
And, this completely went over ufology said, we've had AI.
Exactly.
And that's how they get people not to pay attention.
Right.
And now AI is everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes. You should be in the radio studio with us and see what
we don't have much less we have the surveillance problem. Now we have AI running every darn thing. And eventually it's going to be a problem, I think.
Well, artificial intelligence.
We're just starting out now, but eventually.
Artificial intelligence is better than no intelligence. So I'm on the side of intelligence. Cindy Bailey Dove, thank you for joining us. I got one more question. How's your dad doing?
He's doing great.
Okay.
He's doing great.
Super duper.
Thanks for sending the books. He reads them all, loves them.
Oh, that's good. Tell him we were asking for him.
Thank you, Mac.
Okay.
I will. I will tell him. He'll be really thrilled.
Can I call you honey?
Okay,
thank
you guys.
Can I call you honey just once?
Sure.
Remember the old days?
Yes, one time.
You and me? Okay. Honey.
Yeah, I do.
I will see you later, okay? Thank you, Cindy.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good show.
Okay. There you go. There's the segment.
Bye-bye.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break now? And when we come back, we're going to talk about the top 10 war video games and also talk to a couple people who think that war video games lead to sin. Lead to sin.
Unbelievable. I don't believe it.
I agree. So let's take that commercial break.
Come on. Pac-Man's never let
what is
me
it?
down the
Miss
road.
Pac-Man's a little shady, but Pac-Man's okay. Let's take that commercial break now, and we'll be right back.
Imagine you knew what was going to happen 2 seconds before it happened. Imagine you lived with the world's most beautiful supermodel. Imagine you drove a Jaguar with machine guns behind the headlights. Well, it's time to stop dreaming and start reading about Navy Lieutenant Chris Starr, hero of Mack Maloney's new best-selling paranormal detective series, Codename Starman. Who murdered the most beautiful tea girl in San Diego? Who's bombarding a small Massachusetts town with heavy artillery on Christmas Eve? Who's causing the mass murder of terrorists in the jungles of Africa? These are the cases Lieutenant Chris Starr must solve in the Kalashnikov Kiss, the first book in Mack's exciting new series, Codename Starman. Follow the Starman as he uses his psychic abilities to crack cases the U.S. Navy has declared too unusual. Find out why the Pentagon calls him the X-Files guy. And what is the wormhole anyway? To find out, get your own tomato can and be ready for action, strange adventures, paranormal activity, and lots of cover models in Codename Starman, the Kalashnikov Kiss by Mack Maloney. On sale now at Amazon and your local bookstore.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military Track Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. Wow, what a show we have for you tonight. But let me very quickly introduce you to the people at the party, girls. You know he's here. And if you're still around, so is he, the very famous Juan Juan.
You bet. We're still around, and I'm still around. Mac, pleasure to be here. I live for this, as you know.
There was a big uptick in your...
I appreciate all the ladies. I appreciate all the ladies out there that send me fan letters.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a big uptick in your fan mail in the last couple of weeks. You've been sending out dirty pictures on TikTok.
No, I haven't.
No? Okay.
I haven't done any solicitations whatsoever.
Really? Okay.
We take before anyway. Okay. But hey, I do like my ego fed, so why not?
Do you really? Yeah, that's news to us after 10 years.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm proud of it.
Someone who doesn't care about his ego, and you can tell by the shirt he's wearing, up there in the compound, up in the Great White North, Commander Cobra, Coco.
Good evening, Mac. As always, it's a pleasure to be part of the formation. And yes, you can tell by my fashion sense that ego is only when I'm in the airplane. That's the only time I am.
That's where it should be.
When you shine is when you're in the airplane.
Right. You want him to shine when he's flying the airplane, you know?
That's right.
Because we've seen him
especially
on the ground.
Especially when we go by Mac's property.
Right, yes, right. Okay. We won't get into that. Let's see. No Switchy tonight. I'm a little off tonight because I'm usually going to throw to Switchy here for a couple of minutes on what he had for breakfast. But he's on a secret mission. But our good friend Greg Masto is with us from North Carolina, the Triangle of North Carolina. Is that where you are, Greg? The Iron Triangle?
That is correct, yeah. Triangle. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Raleigh, Raleigh, Durham, Cary. Yeah.
Okay.
Right in the middle there.
Now, you live near Duke University?
Yeah, about 15 minutes away from there.
Okay.
So that's over in Durham. So they're all near one another. UNC, 15 minutes the other way.
Right.
And NC State. Right there in Raleigh.
See, that's the weird thing is that, and this is only
Are they playing football this year?
Sports freaks. No, we don't mention that. This is the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is and you have to be a college, football, basketball freak to understand this. But I never knew that. I think your father told me that Duke and that the campuses are like right next to each other, basically speaking, right?
Oh, yeah. About like I said, 10, 15 minutes separate Chapel Hill and Durham, where the colleges are. It's the biggest rivalry in college basketball by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone to Chapel Hill, to Durham, and there's anti-UNC, anti-Duke stuff everywhere.
And you can't get served in the bars.
I myself root for Duke, so going into Chapel Hill was a bummer, but, it is what it is.
But isn't it true they won't serve you in a bar if you're wearing the opposing team's, regalia?
I haven't pushed my luck
that
that
sounds
far
like a wise move there, brother.
That's never happened in the greater Boston area.
No, hey, well, what do you mean?
Wear a Yankees hat and try to get served. That'll work out well.
We'd love
You'll get served all right.
Yeah, you'll get served.
A rid of...
phlegm. Say the nice word, right?
A villain.
Okay. All right, here we go. So, okay, and we're good friends, special guests, Mack Silberman and Tanya. How's that, guys? Okay? She's waving. We're a radio show.
Government work, brother.
That works.
Okay.
Hello,
Okay.
welcome to the show.
Now, this is the first time we've seen you together. You're very hip. You look like a very hip couple. Not that you didn't sound hip before, but the visual
Very nice.
adds to it.
Excellent.
So, do you have a makeup person?
Hip like Greenwich Village or something, or what?
No, I think they look kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if they have a makeup person. You have someone off camera we're not seeing. No, okay.
That would be Gigi.
Okay, is that the cat?
You met her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we
She's
do
not
this?
always a cat. What can we say?
Okay. Is what else? When she's not a cat, tell us, what is she?
Well, it's she's
poet?
She's an alien, of course.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yep. There's no doubt.
I
think I had told you before. I asked some other cats one time if they're out playing with aliens. I'm convinced cats are the aliens.
Aliens, right? So that's how they've taken us over, cats.
Yeah.
Well, we serve them. I mean, they're so standoffish 99% of the time. So I could see that working. I understand that now. You'd think they know how to learn how to flush a toilet, though. You know what I mean? I mean, they're smart animals. Wouldn't you be able to have, like, just little mini toilets for cats? They go
Or a waste of water.
A waste of water?
You can potty train them.
Really? Yeah? Okay. That's good.
I don't think I had some neighbors. They potty trained their cat to use the toilet, but never taught the kitty to flush. So,
but they can open doors. They can open safes.
They can open doors. They can turn doorknobs.
Anyway,
they can open doors from the inside.
Hey, listen. You train them enough, they'll learn how to flush. I got a feeling. Let's get to the segment. Okay, Greg is someone who is in very, very high tech. He's a producer for video games. Is that your title? Would you say that, Greg?
Yep, official title, associate producer over at Redstorm.
Okay, all right. And so you oversee the creation of video games, right?
Yep. On the management side, so I'll produce certain teams of the project, usually kind of like either the art teams, design, etc. Just to obviously make sure we're kind of hitting our milestones, tracking everything, and just making sure all the assets are ready for the game.
And I know I've asked you this before, but how long does it take for a video game from the meeting conception to it being hit in the streets?
It's a range. You're kind of, smaller ones, maybe for more of a mobile platform, could take a year, but a lot of these kind of big time AAA games, anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, really, huh?
From inception.
Right. Yep. Can you give us a ballpark figure? How much did they throw into a new game, a big game? Would they throw 10 million in, 20, or am I just being a grasshopper?
I'd say like 10 million is probably a nice, kind of healthy one in there, especially for a lot of the bigger ones. So they're trying to get big return on their investment as well.
Right.
But some can start small. A lot of mobile device ones can just be maybe $1 million or less. It is it's about the people, the software, and also just who you're submitting to, because you have to pay them to have it on the platform as well.
Right. So a big company would throw $10 million for a 3-year project. Would you say? Because we're going to do a fundraiser here. We want to know
the budgets of I'd say I'd be more curious about even 25 to 30, especially with all the marketing that's done these days.
Wow.
When they had E3, but all of you're seeing advertisements, during Monday Night Football or even the playoffs and just kind of those big plans.
Yeah.
But they know they're also going to hopefully get a return because, they obviously all that cost has to come somewhere, and you have to obviously pay your employees as well. So.
Well, there goes our idea for the lemonade stand there, Juan. Because it's 20 to 30.
I thought you were going towards a Mack Maloney video game.
Wow. Can you imagine that? So listen, why don't we do this? The top 10 war video. Now, how's the best way to say it? Are they war video games or video war games? How are they known in the biz?
I kind of wanted to pose that to you because I've kind of been changing this list up a bit, and I kind of have my own. It's like my own personal bias on it.
Okay. Yep.
So there are games based on previous wars, like World War II, first-person shooters, but there's others that are like very sci-fi heavy.
Sure.
Make-believe fantasy stories, but still in that same way of just like space war, different races, factions. Just engage in combat or conflict. So, and there's just kind of different ways it has been represented or fantasized.
We'll call them video war games.
I think I've got the 10 just on there, but
okay. All right,
I kind of kept it as that, or if we needed to keep it on a genre, I can try.
No, that's cool. No, let's go with number 10. So we're going to go from number 10 to number 1. Okay. So give us number 10.
Okay. All right, number 10. So number 10, I had this one, and it's one I played a lot more, kind of 90s, early 2000s, but Command and Conquer, specifically Red Alert 2. It was an RTS, so real-time strategy game. So you're looking top-down, and you have these kind of different units you're trying to click through and defeat your opponent with. It has its own campaign, but it's kind of in this, futurist, not too much in the future, but kind of one of those future roles of like the Cold War turned hot. So you've got your
5 minutes in the
American
future
faction, the Russian faction.
Yep. They call it. They go 5 minutes from now. So what was it? What was it about it that really gave you? Why did you like it? Do you like it right away? Most games, you like them right away, or do you have to grow into them?
This one was because there'll be one further down the list, but RTSs I kind of liked it to kind of concentrate. It's kind of more just mouse and keyboard, point and click, and you have just kind of different units, different strategy on how to beat your opponent or complete the campaigns themselves. There's a lot like Civilization, which isn't too much not like war time, but you're trying to accumulate units, collect resources.
Yes.
And strategize your way to achieve your objectives.
Wow.
So it's not too realistic in that aspect, but it's just like you're kind of overseeing it. You are the game god, so to speak, and controlling and being basically the commander and telling where the troops need to go.
Oh, wow. I'd like
Greg,
that.
Is it a type of game where it's you against the game, or do you have to have somebody else on the internet play against you?
It has both. So there is a campaign where you are facing the game itself. The game has certain difficulties, but you can play against local players as well. And I believe it was online at the time also.
Hey, Matt and Tanya, now you don't like video.
Is there any betting and gambling involved here in these games?
No,
not this one.
Wani.
I think DraftKings has it on other ones, but not on this one.
We should get them as a sponsor.
DraftKings has, I saw, Counter-Strike and League of Legends, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Man, they're everywhere, including in my pocket.
Amazing.
Hey, Matt and Tanya, now you're not big fans of video games, I take it, right?
Never said that I wasn't a fan of video games.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Video games the vast majority of my life.
Okay, go ahead.
But I never really thought about it too much. I just don't play too much at this point because of my limitations with my disabilities. Honestly, I can't do that. I grew up with Atari, so I'm from that era, and I loved them when they first came out. But they suck up your time, just like everything, though.
Okay.
So you have to pick and choose.
So did I misread the email? But weren't you going to tell us about the evils of video games?
Oh, they're definitely.
It's not so much the evils of them as now these days video games are a huge ripoff.
Oh,
we can talk about that.
Sorry, Greg.
Ooh, wow. They are destructive.
That left a mark.
That's a good point of view.
Well, let's get another one on the list before we get too deep into this campaign.
Let's get down to 9 or 8 anyway. Okay.
In the trenches, baby.
All right, hang on. So, Greg, number 9. Let's.
All right, number 9, I'll go in because I spoke about just maybe rip-offs or anything like that. But the Halo franchise.
Oh yeah,
I believe Halo's in the. I think Halo crossed into the billion with a B as far as grossed for overall of what they've earned. But again, you're kind of a space marine, so this kind of switches now. You're in the first person. When it started early on, you were kind of this. At the time, his name's Master Chief, but he was kind of nameless.
Yep.
Just space marine fighting these aliens. Now the story's really evolved, where you've kind of learned about the enemies he's defeated. His AI Cortana, he kind of develops a much stronger relationship with because she's leading him on the way. And they just kind of really delve into the world. And then where it really shined with Halo 2 was the multiplayer. Because I remember in high school just playing those games with friends or just kind of going over locally. And it was one of the rare ones that, 4 of us could play right on the same screen.
Yeah,
no problem. Or we could bring an Xbox over and do, LAN parties and just play 8-on-8.
Right, yeah.
So to speak. Excuse me.
So what I always loved about, I mean, I've
What's
got
a LAN party, Greg?
It's a bunch of people together.
Local area, local area network. Just hook up to the local internet, and so you can kind of pretty much everyone's on your local internet here, so you're not getting on live or anything. You're just playing, locally. So as if computer to computer. So in this case, it was bringing a video game
hardwired to your gigabit switch, right?
Exactly.
There you go. Okay. Lonnie knows. Hey, listen, you know what I love about Call of Duty? I've never played it, but man, the music of Call of Duty is unbelievable. It's like soundtrack music for a movie. It's very dramatic. I hear the composer, the arranger is really kind of out of his mind. He's really kind of nutty, but they got great music, and that's the only reason I know Call of Duty. I downloaded all the music. It's excellent, soundtrack music. So, okay, let's see. Number 8.
All right, so number 8 was a bit of a different one because this was kind of in the it's the Wolfenstein series. The reason I put it up there is just the story is what if basically Nazi Germany actually won, kind of took over the world, so to speak. So you're in this role trying to take everything back from the Nazis. So it does kind of have that mix of just as kind of the old war games, but also kind of the new tech as well.
Okay.
It's been around, I believe, even since the first ones in the 80s, definitely early 90s. But
Greg, do you remember
playing that on the Apple IIc?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Matt, you might remember this, but there was a beta trial of it where in another very popular game at that same time, same company, same franchise, you went into a room, you found a secret passageway, and you went into a very limited version of Wolfenstein. And then the game came out. I can't remember what was. They did that early on in many of these games.
Doom.
Was it Doom that you could go into? Because Doom was one of my all-time favorites.
Because Wolfenstein was running on the same engine.
What about Myst?
It had to be some. I don't remember Doom, but yeah. It was classic.
Now, listen, can I ask about the elephant in the room? Was it called Wolfenstein, really? Like Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
And so it basically what it was is you tried to defeat the Nazis after the Nazis conquered the world or something?
Yep, essentially just different kind of stories like that.
And they had amalgamated werewolves as super stormtroopers in this.
I mean, real
the
werewolves.
Whole Mary Shelley thing going on there. I mean, it was classically good ripping sci-fi stuff.
Great idea to combine, as you say, the Frankenstein element to beating up on the Nazis. Wow! And how long ago was that? That sounds like something I should have played in the crib.
Well, I know, like I said, I believe the earliest ones were the 80s. I'll say if it's the Apple one, that's 81, 82, I think, if I've got that right. Because I know in the one that I played a lot, New Colossus, that came out in 2017, I think they had the original Castle Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein 3D that you could have your player character go over and play an old arcade machine, so you could load up on your TV and start playing that as well.
Did you say it ran on a 2C, or was it Matt that said it ran on a 2C? Who mentioned it?
That was
Matt said that. Yeah.
So it ran off of a floppy disk.
Yes.
My Apple 2C, everything ran off a floppy disk.
Okay.
Most of these games came out as computer PC games.
I'm too young for this.
With another track going into the video game, because the consoles had not really hit the market strong.
Right. I guess it was just.
And then you had PlayStation and of course Xbox and Atari tried to keep up with this, but they never had the computing power to really go past it. But that's where PlayStation and Xbox made their, the Microsoft and Sony's really much.
Well, Nintendo was the smasher for your PC games.
Mm-hmm.
So your NES, your Nintendo Entertainment System, that was your first major at-home video game system that was running games that were in the arcade as well.
Right.
So full crossover from the arcade to home system, and that just drove everybody out except for all the big ones that still remain standing now.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, it's a dog-eat-dog world. So this is all foreign to me, but I'm being educated. So next video war game, top 10 video war games, Greg Masto.
Next one for me, a little controversial, but kind of what Cobra was alluding to. So Counter-Strike, which originally was a modification from another PC game called Half-Life. It kind of got its own standalone game, but it's early 2000s, I believe. And it was that just classic player versus player online, and you were either the terrorists or the counter-terrorists. So you would have different objectives, either, team deathmatch, most kills wins, defuse the bomb. But so controversial because at the time, because it came off of a mod, there was a lot of things where if you had a lot of just jerks you played with, they could post graffiti and all that. But I don't want to get into like the bad players, the bad seeds of the world.
Who
the game
made
itself
it?
was
Who created the game?
School.
Who created the game?
Say again?
Who created it?
It got sold eventually to Valve. So Valve, who runs the if you have a PC, you can run games off of a platform what's called Steam. So
is it an
they
American?
originally had that, and they had the Half-Life.
Is it an American company?
They have the Half-Life.
Is it an American company? Yeah. Okay. So that's a little that I can see. I see that more as a marketing tool. Hey, let's put it in so they can play the terrorists too. You know what I mean? That's a little distasteful, frankly.
Well, yeah, it was a good guy, kind of bad guy. Like I said, it just came off of a mod, so a modification off of Half-Life, which was a kind of story first-person game. So someone had actually went in, changed the skins of like what the characters were, and since I don't know the reasoning, if they didn't want to do either U.S. versus country, they literally said counter-terrorists versus terrorists.
Right, yeah.
But they eventually were able to kind of settle, get those rights. And, now Counter-Strike right now, currently, Counter-Strike Go, I believe, is now another one of those popular esports games where players are getting paid more than some of the developers. And like I said, you can even gamble on some of it.
So you told us in the last time you were on that isn't there some kid out there who makes like millions of dollars playing Fortnite or something?
Oh, for the Fortnite. The Fortnite guy, that's Ninja. Yep, he was the highest grossing. He was a streamer. So people literally just watch him, and he, whether it's the ad revenue, I believe he has a deal with Epic. I'm not sure, but it's ad revenue, it's popularity, it's just these personalities like celebrities, and people will pay either for merch, just to the advertisers.
So pay them to watch.
Look, people line up to watch people stuff hot dogs down their gullet and crown them champions. Okay,
right.
Competitive food is considered a sport, so I think at least Fortnite. There's something cerebral going on there, okay? I mean, I got to put it in perspective. I'm sorry.
Listen, ever been out to a bar with JJ after the show? There's some competitive eating, baby.
Competitive food champion.
Man, oh man.
JJ at any given evening.
I can put down a plate of fish and chips like nobody's business.
A couple of cheeseburgers and a chocolate martini, and then something for the road.
And he likes to dip it into the water to get the roll soft. He's got all the things.
I do.
Well, so anyway,
everybody says, "How come you're not fat?" I don't know. High metabolism, I guess.
Well, it's that 10 miles you run every day, right?
Right.
There you go.
Hey, Matt and Tanya, let me talk to Tanya for a second. Have you ever played a war game, video game? No, Matt, you can get back in the Okay. Get back in the frame.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have. I don't think I have, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Unless something like, I don't know, Space Invaders, does that count? Because
Well,
that's
yeah,
about
sure. Why not?
War games, I think the last video game I tried was the Buffy video game, being a Buffy fan, and that was a while ago.
Buffy the Vampire Killer? Buffy?
Yeah.
She had her own video game?
Vampire Slayer.
Oh, really? Yeah? Oh.
Yeah, there were two, actually. But we went to an arcade a couple years back. We had a date night, and we went and played some, I don't know, just racing games. But no, I don't think I have played war games.
Okay, Matt.
So, but I was kind of curious.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I can see.
I wanted to go back to the Wolfenstein because that got me curious. That sounds like a Philip K. Dick story, The Man in the High Castle. And so I was wondering, going back to, having a Mack Maloney, video game or something. Why not?
So, because it'd be too. It's the same thing they tell me when people have inquired about a movie. It'd be too effed up. They just can't. You wouldn't be able to contain it.
Not if you got some control over
so
it.
what?
Right?
Yeah, me? I can barely put the radio show on, Tanya. Can you imagine me? But we saw and this is completely off the subject. We binged a show called Succession. Has anyone seen that? Greg, it was your father who turned me on to it. It's the first TV show I've ever seen that no one has any redeeming value. Everyone is a villain. And it's great to watch because you root for the guy who is the least bit of a villain than the rest of them. It's a very rich family. And what they go through, we should get them as a sponsor. Succession. It's on HBO, I think. Really good. So anyway, okay, let's get back to the top 10 list of, that sounded like a plug, didn't it? The top 10 list of video war games. Greg Masto, please.
Yep. Next one up, I got the Battlefield video game franchise. One of the big ones that I've, the earlier one was like Battlefield 1942. So that really put you into, the World War II setting. It was the first one for PC. I remember just playing with friends, and you could literally it was one of the more massive multiplayer you could get up to if your obviously internet was good enough at the time, get up to about a 40 versus 40 team, I believe.
Wow.
They had everything. Really? You could get into the old airplanes. You could get into like the trucks. And
That's
it was
cool.
This just massive war battlefield.
Right. So can I just interrupt you for a second? So you got 40 people together to do this all at the same time and everything?
Nowadays that's pretty easy. I shouldn't say easy. It's pretty common, I should say. It's not easy. It's more common these days.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, in about I think 2002, 2003, it was usually like maybe 4-on-4, 5-on-5.
Yeah, right.
Something not too large, but whatever the servers could handle at the time. But then now that you've got millions, sometimes almost like billions of players at a time, just trying to handle all of that infrastructure. It's tough. There's even I don't know if it got passed around. It's not a war game, but there's a new one that came out called Fall Guys, where you're this little donut kind of looking dude, and you're just trying to. It's kind of like a show game kind of thing.
Yes.
And they weren't expecting the popularity to take off, but you could have up to 60 people, and you try to do these small little tasks, and they would eventually eliminate it till there's one winner.
Wow.
But that was a case of they didn't have the servers ready, so it would just be slowed down, and they eventually got the update. But it's good to see just sometimes like a big win like that.
This is
so this game didn't involve killing anybody then.
No, it was it's kind of a sillier looking one. Again, you're this little kind of your basic controls are you can run, jump, and you can grab onto ledges. But it's like they put a bunch of people in those what are those kind of shows like Wipeout, so to speak.
Yep.
And you're kind of either getting knocked off the edge by like a pendulum coming by. It's like completely like kid friendly too.
You fall
so
off the cliff and hope that you land safely.
Exactly. You fall off, but you eventually pop back up. So it's as if there was like a cushion down below. And the way they eliminate people is if they have 60 people starting level 1, they need the first 41 to finish are in, the others are out. And it then shrinks, and they have some team-based one.
How long does it take? How long would something like that take to shrink down to 1?
Oh, to shrink down to 1, the game plays pretty quick. I'd say 10 minutes after all the mini games in there. It goes about 5 rounds, 4 to 5 rounds.
It's not like a game of Risk. You ever play Risk? It is like 8 friggin' hours, and you're going out of your mind, because one guy won't, anyway, okay.
Oh, because of all the betrayals and all of that as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have.
Plus, when you walk away from the risk board, if you don't have security on it, people go afterwards and move stuff around.
Yeah. You ain't kidding.
And started the next morning. Iceland was mine. Yeah,
you're right.
Not that I ever did anything like that, but I've heard stories.
Did they do? Is there a video game of Risk? We should ask our pal Phil O'Bain comes on the show once in a while. He owns the company that does Risk. But that'd be perfect. It would seem like for a video game, right? To 8.
The Parker Brothers guy, right?
Yeah. Yep. Have you heard about it, Greg? Is there a Risk video game?
Oh, yeah. No, Risk is on all the latest consoles. You can probably get it downloaded on PC as well. But yeah, Risk is on there. They have everything from like Monopoly, Wheel of Fortune, all that. But yeah, Risk is absolutely. I've played Risk on Xbox before.
Man, I could see myself doing that.
There's in fact I sometimes play. There's a tabletop simulator where people can just put their board games on there, like program their board games in. So if you don't have the physical game, at least that's a way for you all to just sit around and play it online. Versus if you have to, if you're far away, just meet people on it.
Let's just go back to you had mentioned gambling a little bit earlier. How does that work?
You place a bet, Mac, and if you win, you get some more money back.
Let the expert
you lose your money.
Let the expert talk about it.
Expert in gambling. I don't know how my pop will feel about that one. Well, with these anyway, at least with the players, a lot of these like League of Legends, there's teams, so it's really just kind of placing bets on the team. DraftKings, I'm curious about because I know early on when we had kind of like the Madden or anything like that, people would even just bet on the virtual just games, let the computer simulation figure it out.
Really? Yeah.
With stuff like Counter-Strike Go, it's just based on how the players are doing. So maybe you, instead of drafting a team, just draft the players. So similar, you need to know the players, you need to know who the all-stars are and just make the salary.
Right, but, yeah.
No, people will... And it's DraftKings the first one I've really seen it at. I haven't seen it at, say, like a Caesar Sportsbook. I don't know how they would kind of regulate that. And I do know, especially in fighting games, like your Street Fighters, there had been controversies of people making side bets, and people would obviously just throw matches because it's like, well, I'm gonna get more money off that than the entire tournament. So
like in online poker, Greg, I don't know if they have online poker. Wait, hang on for a second. They have online poker anymore, Greg? Do you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I could see people being sucked into that.
Absolutely. That's still around.
I could see 3 people ganging up on one person, and they're playing, but you're texting each other, and it'd be easy to cheat at online poker. Not that I'd ever do it. Go ahead, Wani.
Well, video games, part of the benefit of video games is teaching good hand-eye coordination, teamwork, perhaps, following directions, following instructions. If you're part of a team and you're just a grunt and you got a commander, leading the way. The downside, let me just throw it out there to maybe Matthew can talk about this, or anybody out there, is why are most of the popular games combat-oriented, war-oriented, and killing-oriented? Is that just the genre that happens to be more popular? Or more exciting, or what? That gets the juices flowing?
Well, if you believe the stories, the original first-person shooters were designed as combat simulation games for the U.S. Army. So
Doom came from the Marine Corps. Doom was created by the Marine Corps. It was inspired. That's what its origins were, as a way to teach rapid team close quarter combat skills. And communicating, moving, and doing that kind of stuff.
Okay. Next one, Greg, please. What number are we on? 3, 4?
Well, actually, we might only be at 5, so I think.
Okay, that's okay.
I think we can expedite this if we need.
No, let's go. Go ahead.
No worries. Next one I got is Gears of War. Another one, just kind of a series in its set itself. Very sci-fi. Was made by Epic Games, and now it's but Xbox exclusive. The original one was, but it was one of their kind of best-selling franchises, and it was different. Other than like a lot of the war games you have are just kind of either first-person shooters. This was kind of a third-person, over-the-shoulder shot, and this is just full-on sci-fi. Just big giant aliens, big giant monsters, and also fighting as well. VO is pretty. The voiceover is pretty good, and it has like kind of in the later ones, they've started putting in just kind of like guest appearances. They had Dave Bautista from Guardians of the Galaxy and WWE fame in there as well. So anything wrestling related, I'll obviously have like a good bias towards, because I'm just like a sucker for that still.
Yeah.
But no, just like kind of the combat and the gameplay of all of that has, was just really fun and just really addicting. A little more on the much more violent side, just kind of what they did. You literally had a chainsaw on your gun.
Okay.
But it's definitely one of those ones that just story wise has again picked up. And I think that's just like kind of that competitive nature in that game.
Juan, have you ever played a video game? You?
I'm a big fan of tennis.
Sorry, now I got to cut that out.
Great top spin. I played it on a PDP-11 by deck. I used to exercise the monitor. Lunar Lander was a game that you use with a light pen. Here's my pen, and you touch the screen. Boop. It was used to exercise the monitor and the accuracy of the light pen. And if landing the craft was secondary.
Yes.
But the game was intense enough that it exercised the memory, exercised the processor, and the screen refresh of the monitor. And if it ran properly without glitching or pixelizing or something, you ship the
product. Alien is really happy to hear about that.
I know. I pulled
the right off the keyboard when you heard Lunar Lander.
I pulled the pin out of that hand grenade.
Left, right, key, up and down keys, and the light pen.
All right.
That's all you needed.
Okay.
I don't think the mouse had been invented back then.
The mouse. So, Greg, are there any video games aside from war games, or maybe war games, that are really bloody, like kind of Chainsaw Massacre bloody, where you really see the blood and guts flying and all that jazz?
Yeah, one of my favorites. So this might be questionable. With the Mortal Kombat franchise, it has definitely gotten a little more eerily and realistic now with today's kind of graphic engines. Before, I remember as a kid it getting into trouble because of just little blood sprites on the screen, and nowadays they have gone pretty extreme with the finishing moves, the fatality. You can literally finish your opponent and
really
body parts exploding, all of that. But I'm just a sucker for fighting games, and it's one of those like, well, maybe I won't do any of the finishers if I've got company over or if anyone's watching.
Are there any X-rated games? Juan wants to know if there's any X-rated games. He just passed me a note.
There are, but they're not X-rated, I'd say, in maybe kind of the gory way. Just I'm sure there's adult games that I definitely do not play, and
Grand Theft Auto had some pretty poor conduct on there.
That's your story. Stick to it.
God of War had some pretty nasty conduct on there as well.
Which one was it? Which one was it, Matt?
God of War.
Oh, yeah, God of War, yeah.
God of War, yeah.
Now, listen, so, Greg, you were talking about people who do the voiceover, and you really have to have a good voiceover, right, on a game? Okay. Hey, Matt, you do voiceovers, don't you? You have a great radio voice. Say something. Matt. Yeah, say the Gettysburg Address.
He does.
No, yeah. So, yes, having the voice acting as part of, especially the modern video games, you have a lot of silver screen actors that have crossed over into video games. That it's just unbelievable. So many moons ago, Bruce Willis did it on a PlayStation game. I hate to use the name Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion was included in Halo. So it's all, especially so many of them are just storyline driven now these days. Having good voice acting as part of it, yeah, absolutely. So I'll participate in that, and I'm not saying they're evil. Just I really hate seeing toddlers walking around with iPhones now these days. So you got a 4-year-old.
How are you going to stop that?
Got their head down, got their thumbs locked into the screen.
Yes.
So they're developing this
carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's what I've got is that I've got degenerative bone disease in both of my thumbs.
Oh wow. Okay.
So everything from the console I started on, Pong.
Yes.
With the knobs.
Yes.
Turning knobs back and forth to Atari, joystick button, to, I mean, Intellivision, to ColecoVision, to, I mean, all the games. I mean, I've touched almost every single game system.
Sounds like a lawsuit.
Up to date.
This is a lawsuit.
Since they started making them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Are you a different person from playing all those games?
Prove it, man.
Yeah. Are you a different person from playing all these games?
Am I? Well, I can talk about my life experience, and I wanted to jump on you. Playing the part of a terrorist. Well, I did that as a close quarters combat instructor.
Okay.
And let me tell you, there ain't much getting higher on dopamine than there is when you're playing a bad guy engaging the students you've taught.
Really?
So the first time I played PUBG, I had that same sensation. So it was using the same pathways that I used as a close quarters combat instructor in a video game for my dopamine feed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Hey, listen, why don't we do this?
Well, isn't that a main part of why people like it?
No, go ahead,
absolutely.
Tanya, please
Absolutely.
speak.
So,
Did that attract you to him?
yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen. On that note, if everyone
What?
if everyone can hang around, let's just take.
What was her answer, Mac? I didn't hear her
She said
answer.
yes. Why don't we take a commercial break real quick? Everyone hang around, and we'll be right back after this.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. How to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
Mack Maloney's Mill Track Style Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. What a show we have for you tonight. I'm putting on my shades. It's official. Girls, he's still here. If you're still here, he's putting on his shades too. Go ahead. Do it there, JJ. There you go. Yeah, you're complete now. Okay. How are you doing that? And you're eating something. What are you eating? Wow.
A ginger snap.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
Is there a problem with that?
Yeah. Apparently not. No. You sure it isn't one of those?
They report ginger calms them down.
Yeah. Those gummy bears?
That's right.
You sure it's not a gummy bear, right? That other voice you heard up there in the his compound doesn't want to call it a bunker anymore. That is a bad connotation to it. Commander Cobra. Coco.
Good evening, Mac. It is always a pleasure to be flying on the wing.
So,
hello, Commander.
Hey,
Mac, I enjoyed being at the commander's compound a week ago.
Really? Yes.
He's got his uniform hanging up there. His uniform is awesome.
Really? Yeah. Does that have bullet holes in it?
Yeah.
Where he escaped?
You want to see all the ribbons on his uniform.
I'll bet. Yeah, I'll bet.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Okay.
If I saw him walking down the street when I was in my younger days in the Navy, I'd be shaking in my boots. As I'm approaching the guy.
Yeah, he has a presence.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, listen.
I got over it when I got on the ship.
What happened? Do you want?
I got over that fear when I got on the ship. All the commanders, they're all cool guys.
Okay. Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Really?
A suck up. Were you a suck up to him? I don't want to use that word.
Most of your chest candy is the been there, done that anyway.
There you go. Okay. Hey, listen.
Sorry, what was that, Matt?
Don't make fun of Juan Juan.
Most of your chest candies.
He's
been there, done that.
He's been to Vietnam.
Global War on Terror Expeditionary, Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia, Kuwait Liberation,
yes,
Expert Marksman Pistol, Expert Marksman Rifle, Expert Marksman Grenadier. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, been there, done that.
The voice you hear is our good friend, Matt Silberman, and beside him is our actually good friend, Tanya. How are you guys doing tonight, okay? She's waving to us.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And also, Juan, I introduced you. I introduced Cobra, Greg Masto. high-tech friend, our video game producer, is educating us on all things video games. How you doing there, Greg?
Doing very well. Always happy to talk video games.
Okay, super. And we're going down the top 10 wall game video list. And so what number are we on? We're having so much fun, I forgot.
4?
Yeah, okay.
Number 4, right?
Okay, 4.
Okay, I got
Coco knew it.
Right.
Okay. Number 4.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry. All right, so number 4. All right, so this might kind of, sorry about that. This might kind of come, not as a cop-out, but only because the company I work for makes it. But Tom Clancy's The Division series.
Oh, yeah, my godfather.
Something a little different because it's a kind of an action role-playing kind of more single-player, and it's a little different than from your other kind of war games or your other shooters. The story is there's this kind of epidemic, a virus has been put in banknotes all over the world. So the world, as we know it, is just in complete chaos. Now, you control a player, a character that you can fully customize, but you are this kind of agent that now kind of wakes up. So the government was prepped for this ahead of time.
Okay.
So you're fighting for the resistance. So, I'll fully admit, full disclosure, before I started at Red Storm, I'm like, okay, I see that they helped with Division 2. So I wanted to understand, like, okay, I need to get familiar with the games they're creating if I obviously want to get a job there as well. But, getting into it and, still playing it, it's actually just very fun because it also helps, if you have friends as well. There's a main campaign, but with other games like, Destiny, you can do the single player campaign on your own, but it is like a kind of a lot more fun to also play with friends as well, or kind of meet up with other people if you have these objectives you need to do. So something a little different from your other kind of, first and third person shooters, and just what can be done there.
It's funny, but it seems like I should tell people who Tom Clancy is because, when we were younger, he was like a big name in selling books and movies and so on. What he was the guy who started the techno thriller. That was what the publishing business called it. And it was spies, and it was Russians, and the Russians secretly invading the United States, and and coming, and The Hunt for Red October is an amazing book because it's so, you're in a submarine and nothing really moves fast, so there's a lot of time to build tension, and he really is my godfather. If it wasn't for him, there would be no Wingman books because he hit and Top Gun hit kind of at the same time, and all of a sudden the publishers are looking for, jet fighter pilot books, So he's dead now. What did he die of? He died pretty mysteriously, that guy, and he wasn't that old either. Do you know, Greg?
Yeah, I forgot what his death was, but
they never disclosed.
It was kind of sudden.
Yeah, they never disclosed what he died of. But what helped him too is that he knew a lot of people in the Pentagon because he was like an insurance salesman to people in the Pentagon.
Right.
And the first book that he published, I think, was for Naval Institute, which is usually like handbooks and stuff. He hit and bada bing. I mean, he died a rich guy.
Yeah, it was Naval Institute Press.
Right. Yeah.
When he did The Hunt for Red October.
Right.
And that's the only publisher he could get. And
they
do a lot of first-time military, especially of a naval or a naval aviation bend.
Yeah,
he didn't make a lot of money off of it, but it's what established him, and then they allowed him to do the reprints, and that's what moved it up. Of course,
he made a lot of money. He made a lot of money later on, for sure. So anyway, Greg, next.
How big is the royalty payment to Tom Clancy?
Yeah, what do you have to pay his estate?
It was enough to break up his marriage.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Not too sure on that because funny, he founded the company I work for, Red Storm, because I believe Red Storm Rising was one of his first books. So it was
the second one, and by far probably one of the best.
Red Storm Rising is really good. Yeah. Yep.
I got to get the name right because he founded it with I believe a former Navy guy as well. But yeah, they originally founded it. They sold to Ubisoft, so Ubisoft owns us, but they have studios all over the world. But yeah, that's kind of where the Red Storm name and why so many Tom Clancy games come out of the Ubisoft franchise, because he founded Red Storm Entertainment over here in Cary, North Carolina.
Yeah, cool. Is he kind of like, do you revere him around the office?
Since I've only been there a year, not really.
Like statues or something?
Yeah, don't they have statues?
I don't recall any statues, but I will say one of kind of the selling points for me for Red Storm, and it's unfortunately rare in games especially, but we have a lot of talent that have been there 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And that stability was like a big selling point for me taking the job here, because a lot of the times they'll go through contractors. Longest one I've held has been 3 years, but that's just kind of nature of the industry, unfortunately. So I'm hoping with this one and the success they've had. So if that's anything, that's been just a good sticking point that people have stayed there and they've enjoyed the work too.
That's good.
Hopefully that's come through in their games.
Because I could see your business as being transitory, as they say. It's like the publishing business, man. The person behind the desk is running the place, a year later, and they've been fired 3 months after that. It's crazy. And they move around. People move around like crazy, and there's no stability to it.
So that's why I'm hoping this changes now, and it's a lot more stable.
Knock on wood. Okay,
How
next.
come Kurt Schilling's game company
I was going to ask you
fell
that.
apart?
Do you know what happened?
What was it called? 32 Studios or something? What was it called? I forget.
38 studios. 38 studios. He
Let's
ran
explain.
it terribly.
Let's explain who Kurt Schilling is. A hero in Boston like you wouldn't believe. Okay, He's the guy who had the bloody sock that won the World Series game for the Red Sox to win the first World Series since the Titanic sank. Okay, that's how. And living in Boston when that happened, it was. I can't explain it. It was crazy for a month. You felt like something else was happening beyond sports because everyone was happy. It was a collected, sigh of relief and also being happy. But then he goes on and he had some of his own money, and then he took some money from the state of Rhode Island and started his own company. And I heard they made a really good video game, but there was no follow-up and, I don't know.
They had a good game ready. We could maybe even do a whole show on it. I'd have to do a little more research. Everyone I've known that worked there were miserable. I don't want all of Boston to come after me, but
I felt bad for him.
He's such a happy-go-lucky guy.
Well, he ran it. Some say he ran it kind of with his buddies, but he didn't, I think, have a full grasp of how to run it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was late on payments with a lot of people. When I was working back up in Albany, people were leaving 38 in droves because they just weren't getting paid anymore.
Wow.
And this is a company run by a Hall of Fame baseball player, but also on something I'll need to do a little more research on, that shady deal with the state. I think he kind of promised a lot of jobs but didn't deliver, but that's something I would need to do a lot more research on rather than kind of just kind of armchair right now.
You don't want
to myself and any of my coworkers that listen to us, not a fan of that studio.
Okay.
I will say that.
You don't want to disappoint the people in Providence, you know what I mean?
The people in Providence, I think, are actually happy it's gone, unfortunately.
He's gone.
So,
okay, that's good.
So, because it does not exist anymore. But
no hard feelings, I'm sure.
No hard feelings.
No,
it was only cost him $90 million. But he lost all his money, too. He lost whatever he had. And he was making $25 million back then with the Sox. He was well paid. So, but he was always kind of a screwy guy. I mean, just because they're baseball players, a lot of them are just dopey. I mean, because this is all they've ever done. This is all they've ever had to do, and you make millions of bucks and then you play golf for the rest of your life. I mean, why study? So anyway, Greg, next video war games, top 10 video war games. Greg Masto.
Yep. Next one kind of keeping in that kind of sci-fi realm, but I've got Titanfall 2. Reason why I have this one. This was one that's, again, kind of like way into the future. And why Titanfall 2 specifically, I know I've kind of kept it in the series a bit. But this one, unlike its first one, actually had kind of a story. You're this pilot who also kind of operates in this mech suit, this AI, which also kind of has a personality of its own. And what was so surprising about it was because the first Titanfall was literally a kind of first-person shooter. It was fun to play, but it was fun to also kind of get these what was called Titanfalls, these giant mechs you could get into in the middle of combat.
Wow.
So then they added this big story with it where it's very engaging. You carry around the core of it, like pretty much like kind of the brain of the Titan with you, and like the pilot kind of develops a relationship with it, understanding just the AI kind of becoming self-aware.
Wow.
Just the gameplay with it and how they changed the upgrades, but they were also to tell such a great story with it. Just makes it fantastic. It's definitely one of those ones that it's unfortunate. I think it kind of undersold. I think it didn't sell out as well. So I don't think that's why we've seen a third one yet, but it's a fantastic video game. Whether you just love multiplayer or if you need like a good story in a game like this as well.
What do they cost? I mean, what's the average cost of these games you're telling us about?
New ones go for about $60 on console, on PC. But Titanfall 2, I mean, you could probably get it for $10 now. But yeah, when they're first released, your kind of base core game, $60.
Okay. And how do you connect with the other 40 people that you want to play that particular game with?
It depends. So PlayStation, Xbox, they have their own networks, so you can play online where they have their own kind of separate one. You know, your PC, just your basic kind of internet, as long as they have online play.
Okay.
Just based on what the servers have. Something that a lot of games are trying for, which is actually a little more refreshing, is they're trying to do cross-play. So for the longest time, it was just if you're on PlayStation, you can only play other PlayStation people. Okay. Same with PC, same with Xbox.
Yes.
So they're starting to now allow kind of cross-play. So
really? It's like Marvel and DC.
With a PlayStation player.
Like Marvel and DC getting together.
It has its own issues.
Who makes the money? What do they split? Do they split the money?
Well, they're just splitting it based off of whoever's on their network, whatever kind of system they bought it for.
Yeah, right.
So that's where, because again, the developers we'll pay Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, whatever the cost is to develop on it, and then Sony already will make the $60. Was it $60 a year? I think for a subscription for a year you can play on their network, which can get you deals and all that.
So. Yeah. Wow, man. Crazy. Okay. Next one. Are we down to one yet? Because we need a drum roll if we are.
Two. Yeah, two more.
Okay,
more. So
all right, here we go.
The second one, again, still staying on kind of the sci-fi, but one of my favorites, StarCraft.
Yeah, I've heard
the
of
original one with Brood War. Similar to Command and Conquer, a real-time strategy, so you're looking at a top-down. But it's the one that really kind of introduced me to this genre. It's a game that I played for years and years and years, but there's three races. The Terran, so your humans, the Protoss, a little more kind of psychic aliens, just kind of a little more intelligent, and then the Zerg, your kind of stereotypical kind of hive mind brood kind of aliens.
Yeah,
they're kind of the nasty looking ones.
Yeah.
So, but just how that game, I remember that was the first online game I played, probably elementary, middle school into high school, just putting hours and hours into it. It was, developed by Blizzard Entertainment, and just it was before really the competitive kind of really the esports really blew up. Yep. Nowadays, it's kind of has a bit of a niche in there, but it's too bad that esports weren't around back then, because that would have probably been one of the top games played, just from the competitive nature, just how well Blizzard had their own server called Battle.net, which ran great on your PC. You were able to connect to people all over the world.
Wow.
I remember it's the first time my brother and I, they had teams. You could join they had unofficial teams and clans.
Right.
And I remember we happened to join one just because it was there's these people we've never met before. We're not going to give them any information, but hey, it's other players like us, like minds, and we'll play with them and go fight other teams as well. And nice little thing to have there. And that was also another one where, again, just early on, had a great story, just kind of an early on, just you really had to strategize to try to beat the mission. So you kind of saw the perspective of all three races. And with Brood War, so they expanded on it, added new units, added to the story. You could use cheats to help, but that was definitely one of those where I wanted to beat it as a kid. Just no, I want to kind of get the full experience, just kind of the full on story with it.
For people to play these games, what do they got to do? Get a PlayStation? Is that the first step?
Well, no. If you have a PC, it's games are on. The main consoles we have right now are PlayStation, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. But there's many games also that you can just run on your PC. You can on a Mac. There aren't as many. But how
about on Unix boxes?
Unix boxes? Not too sure. You're gonna want a pretty good PC kind of these days. Because my wife ended up building her own to help with work, but also to play kind of her own games as well.
Snap, JJ.
As an individual, can you build a server and then host some of these games and maybe make a couple of bucks off of it?
Well, I mean
who's hosting all the games?
It'd be
the company that makes the game?
Yeah. So they'll have their kind of specific ones just with the network, just wherever kind of those hosting ones are. I'm not saying it's impossible if you have a lot of money, let's say, to do it. But
I'm not saying you got to build a server farm, but I'm saying I can't imagine that the game manufacturers is doing all the hosting too.
They probably prime it out.
Considerable amount of infrastructure.
They probably farm it out.
It's a bit of both too. Yeah, it's a bit of both too. Where like the game companies have their own to help support the network. The local ones like us will have kind of Ubisoft has just where all their network and kind of all of that is stowed as well. All my other I was at 2K, the basketball and WWE game people. They had their own just servers where we because with yearly releases we'd have to meet with their IT to make sure okay, is the one from 2 years ago, we still have millions of players, so we need to just kind of have a plan to then migrate all these players over.
Right.
So it is in both, and it is just really at the end of the day kind of the strength of your connection, and then if the publisher and developer is just bandwidth can handle all of the players as well. We'll do it's no secret we'll do stress tests to make sure that we can try and get ahead of that to test any bugs or any features like that.
Is that your scoreboard? How many people are following on subscription and stuff? Is that your scoreboard?
You're saying for how well the companies are?
Right.
Really, it's kind of just it's product sold. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the more that are on there, obviously, the more that have bought your game.
Right.
Hopefully, other than the people that have pirated it, but that's kind of just like a good kind of platform for success. And then, kind of longevity wise, just like how has the player base been since day one? Obviously, you're gonna hit that just like high arc in the beginning, first week, or maybe week one. And then just like kind of what is the steady base there? How do you kind of keep your players? Do you have a subscription or just, how are they hitting on the servers there? And we have ways of seeing that data.
In a strange way.
Are there any games being developed that are based on musical musicians or pop singers?
He wants to play in virtual reality with the Stones.
Oh, to be like if I wanted to be kind of like in like the Red Hot Chili Peppers or anything like that.
Or Cardi B or something.
Why would you do that? Why would you want to be in that band?
Ubisoft did not so much on an artist themselves, or maybe they'll collaborate. But Ubisoft did the Just Dance ones where you can literally kind of like do the dance movements to it to popular songs. Sarah and I first started at VV with Activision, where they had Guitar Hero, so you had kind of the guitar simulation with the 4 buttons or 5 buttons. But they even did Rocksmith, where they tried kind of the full kind of stringed guitar, those kind of former guitars. So not so much in the life there. I'm trying to like think before I get yelled at for that, but a lot of more kind of simulation ones.
Right.
They'll kind of do they've done like riffs, like Def Jam Vendetta had like it was a rappers fighting one. But they might just kind of go off of just maybe not the story of the artists themselves, but just more kind of soundtrack.
He wants to. All he wants to do is in virtual reality play with the Stones. He wants to be up on stage. He wants to know when is that going to happen. And last time you were on, you said 2 or 3 years, but I think you'll be a nice
like a hologram. I want to take a Rolling Stones upcoming Steel Wheels tour from New Jersey that they're putting out.
He's got it all laid out. Go ahead.
And be a member of the band in some capacity.
How? What?
Not just a local crew that I actually was part of when they were in Boston.
There you go.
But as a member of the band, just another guitar player. This weaving with Keith Richards.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Can it be
it's
done?
Like Strange Days or something.
Yeah.
So Brainstorm. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
So,
right. Sure.
We don't have the video games, but we've got those films that definitely represent that. That's probably right around the corner then, huh?
Before we get to number one,
I would say so.
Number one, right? We're down at number one, Greg?
That's correct.
Okay, let's just throw it to Matt and Tanya. So please, just tell us, why Greg is evil, please.
Greg, you're evil. Oh my gosh, you're so evil.
I mean, just look at him. Look how evil he looks. Look at him.
Yeah, well, video games definitely change your brain. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Just like watching television changes your brain and has the what is it? Is it the alpha waves? I know I'm messing up my waves right now, but whatever. What is it that puts you to sleep or gamma? I know I'm messing that up, but
yeah, okay.
I mean, television emits that, so we people respond. We know brains are changing. I mean, I imagine using a keyboard has changed the brains of today's people. We're seeing it. Well, we'll see it more later on. But
everyone can type.
You're going from using one hand to two hands. All of this affects the brain.
Yes.
So what do video games do? That you're reconditioning, you're rewarding, you're getting the dopamine hits. So it's not the video game developers who are evil. It's what video games get used for, just like with anything else.
Well, it's not so much the content then; it's the transmission medium. Then perhaps. We're talking about waves.
I mean, let's take a look at the modern games. It used to be that you would go to the store, you'd buy your disc or buy your cartridge, you'd take it home, you'd throw it in your machine, and you'd play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now these days, I mean,
go ahead.
And I want to say it started with the Xbox 360 around there, but you go to the store, you bring your disc home to the machine that you've spent $500 on already, throw the disc into the machine, and in another 2 hours, downloading the game or downloading a patch or downloading this or that or the other thing before you can even play.
Really? Yeah, that's
further. Now these days.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, now these days, you have to have high-speed internet. If you don't have that, you're SOL.
Yeah.
And once you've got everything, you need a membership, like an Xbox Live membership, and I don't know what it's called on PlayStation.
Okay.
But you need a membership card to even get into the accounts to be able to play.
Wow.
So they steal from you, and then you get into games with your microtransactions.
Yes.
So you've got people out there spending real world dollars on ones and zeros.
Yes.
What does it say about us that this is desirable? Because people are looking for it. I mean, people think that they're involved with their Alexa. There's reports out there that people have personal
a relationship with Alexa.
You have no idea what's between
be
you.
Careful Tanya. Be careful as you delve into that. There may be somebody in the room that's
Alexa.
getting a little serious with.
Hey, Greg, guilty as charged. It sounds like you are the evil empire.
The couple things I want to break down, because I get it with the frustration. I've even mentioned it to relatives, especially with the new system. Like, hey, if you're gonna buy something for the holidays, plug it in, download the game, make sure it's got the latest patches, because day one, Christmas Day, you are gonna maybe wait around, especially for the long internet.
Okay.
That's something I'll kind of put the hand up. Like, games have gotten larger. Games have just gotten so big. They're gigs and gigs of data. Like, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields of the world are just gigs upon gigs. Now, the first one I will argue with you on is like the online. If you want to play online with your friends, yes, I'm going to yield. You're going to need to do that. You can do kind of like a free trial to see if you like it. You can pay kind of monthly. You can pay for the full year. There's also so traditionally, it'll cost you about, I think, $50 right now. I think $50 for the year.
Oh, that's not bad.
But
at
least modernly right now, I can find deals like Best Buy, whatever, on the internet. I can find it for $30. Like, they'll run it for $20 off. There's some kind of holiday they're running.
That's three drinks. That's three Jack and Gingers right there. That's $30, really. Go ahead, please.
That's about 5-6 in North Carolina.
Not up here in Boston.
My experience is that I plugged in Modern Warfare, the latest one, and tried to run it just on campaign mode. It wouldn't run without being connected to Xbox Live. So, I mean, now that we're in a different location and on satellite internet, I've got this Xbox. I can't play anymore.
Did you have an Xbox that kept turning itself on too when it wasn't connected to anything? It would.
That's a different show for a different. That was a little something special Mr. Gates put in there just to see what you kids were up to.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's a completely different 1984 Big Brother kind of thing. We'll talk about later.
Right. If we were able to. Hey, listen. Let's get to the drum roll now. And Greg, please, number one war video game, top 10, number one.
All right, for number one, I have Call of Duty Black Ops. I did put the Call of Duty series as a whole, but the one thing I wanted to kind of acknowledge Black Ops right there. I was in between that and Modern Warfare 2, but while this might be kind of either controversial or a cop-out to some people, I'm not going to deny the hours I've put into the Call of Duty franchises, especially Black Ops. I kind of liked Black Ops kind of came after they had Activision saw that they had a hit on themselves with the Modern Warfare series. So getting out of World War II, World at War was okay. They went back to World War II, but people were clamoring to kind of go back to kind of the Modern Warfare field.
Right. Yep.
So after Modern Warfare 2, we had Black Ops, kind of a new kind of thing where you're kind of like kind of this rogue agent, just the missions you had to take on. So the stories were a lot more engaging. They weren't just kind of controversial for kind of that shock or wow factor.
Okay.
Or, for headlines, which I feel the Modern Warfare series kind of started to flirt with. And it needs to be said, since I think it's third to Mario and Pokemon, I believe it's the third highest grossing video game franchise in the world right now.
Wow.
It's definitely, I want to say, in about like 36 billion with a B. Maybe I'm wrong on that number. I need to definitely get that one. But I believe it is third behind those two. Now, that is all the way back from their Call of Duty 1 to their World War II games where, they obviously had their following.
Right, sure.
But then, taking that risk with kind of going into warfare and trying to put either real world politics or kind of superpowers against one another and making you have these decisions, that's a big thing.
And what are you a secret agent?
The big thing too. Sorry,
are you a secret agent? Is that the angle?
Say again?
Are you a secret agent or a Black Ops guy? And you're the guy who can make things go one way or the other?
Yep, you'll play different roles at times. Even you'll be a certain agent in one part of the world. You'll be another kind of just sergeant. You might be even just a civilian. I know there was controversies where you were a double agent in a mission in Modern Warfare called Speak No Russian. Now you could complete the mission without shooting anybody because you're there with terrorists. You are there at an airport to essentially cause terror, cause havoc. Now, it obviously got in the news because you're in an airport shooting innocent people who can't fight back. You could complete the mission not doing that, just walking to your end objective, which kind of has a result towards that. But then Activision did have to go in and say, like, we can skip this content if you want. I don't want to get too hung up on that because I will say just with Call of Duty also, as Matt said, like especially with the multiplayer, it was one of those kind of first ones. I remember playing a lot with friends, just kind of coming home when I had more time before I had a full-time job that I could play with my friends a lot.
Yep.
And just the different game modes, how they could kind of just introduce you like gun game or just kind of like one in the chamber where you all had pistols, but it was just always like one shot, one kill. So it was like a nice mix of, arcadey fun. But also they kind of tried to have it as just of a real sim as possible.
Yes.
And they've definitely tried with the stories. The stories have gotten a little over the top lately, but that's just kind of, I think, the nature of it when they've made so many at this point right now.
Listen, we got like 5 minutes left.
Their issuing in November is a big deal. The Call of Duty that's coming out, Cold War for November, is stacking up attention.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's bigger than a movie opening. It's bigger than a movie opening. They'll sell more, of these games than they will at the box office on that particular weekend. They're as big as porn, really.
Yeah, that's been kind of what we alluded to. Like a lot of them are just, and they have these just gigantic cinematics, and just the size of them have gotten so large. So I'll agree with Matt. I think because a lot of my friends, a lot of people I work with, I've worked in New York, North Carolina, and California, 3 areas with, for the most part, pretty well-off internet, well-off connections.
Yep.
People don't understand that, there are just an influx of tickets, especially anyone in the Midwest or kind of in parts of the world where their connection's not the greatest. And now they need to download a 60 gig game. If your internet's not good, that just might be what your machine's running the whole time.
Yeah, sure.
And you just kind of have that idle. So like a lot of games too, where they've tried to hand wave and try to get around it, is you can pre-order it digitally. So you don't have the physical copy, but you can pre-order it days in advance and then 2 days prior, it can start downloading to your machine.
Yeah,
now,
yes.
in some cases, if your internet's not great, it might take the full 2 days or even more, so you're still kind of screwed.
Right.
And the other part, I did hear Matt say, like, I got to download then a patch on top, and that's unfortunately just kind of an issue with development that I think it's still unsolved.
It is the rabbit ears on the TV antenna set with the tinfoil wrapped around it.
top.
Yeah.
We think we've advanced, but all we've done is change the parts and pieces.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, it's like, we have release dates to get to. We have to have the game out there. We might have that first vanilla done for you about 2 months prior. But there could be a game-breaking bug that we know we need to fix. But we know if we don't get it on the shelves, we're screwed.
Yes,
so as long as we can get that patch in digitally to you, we're good to go.
Right, yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble.
That's
But
if that
I hope that's pretty much.
No one
I hope
listens to
that's
us.
pretty much known at
think
this
it's pretty
point
much known.
with patches. But
So-
if I get yelled at work, we'll find out.
We get 2 minutes left. One. You have one last question?
I had one question: is that with games like Call of Duty, are there real combat veterans that are hired on as advisors to really kind of proofread the action sequences and the things that go on in a typical storyline?
Keep it real.
I know for Call of Duty, I can't honestly answer for, but I believe they have them. They'll have kind of realization folks, especially for kind of weapons,
Realization,
kind of
yeah,
combat
yeah.
training.
Yep.
The narrative will be kind of like driven by narrative designers. Like we have a realization person over at Red Storm who kind of knows all the ins and outs with all kind of the guns
Right.
and what's needed. I would hope that a lot of franchises like this would, talk to some experts on it, but kind of put that spin on
You've
it.
got to get
They
it right.
absolutely
Is
do
this
not
accurate?
do. They absolutely do not one when they do a flying game. I can tell you that.
Oh, wow. There you go. All right.
And I would volunteer my time for that.
Wow. Turn the page. Go. Turn the page.
I took Ace Combat off because I figured that would be
Oh,
the mad, 'cause that's more
you'd
arcade.
rile
That's
them
more
up.
arcadey. That's more arcadey than it is war games. So I
Cobra,
don't
there's a
know
work from home career gig for you.
There you
Was
go.
first you proofread all of Mack Maloney's flying sequences, and then that's how you became
Digitize
famous
them.
in the show.
Look what they did to me. Hey, listen, at Matt and Tanya, we got like 2 minutes left. So please, the last comment is yours.
Well, I just going back to I don't want to say that Greg or anybody doing video games is evil or anything.
That's
like
okay.
that.
Oh, no,
it's
that's
about
fine.
what things get used for. It's okay if I did. No,
Sure.
We can see where we're going though. With video games are exemplary about role playing, escaping, the gratification, and it is changing brains. I mean, do you remember the Atari Callus? I mean, that's
The
only
Atari
something
Callus.
that's small
Good name
in
for a band.
comparison to how everything else.
Where's your cat?
changed.
Is your cat nearby? Is that alien cat nearby? Can you get her on the
No,
screen?
she's
No?
escaped the room.
Okay. She's probably communicating with us. Hey, thank you, Matt and Tanya, for joining us at the last minute, too, okay? It's good that you really knew a lot about video games because obviously we didn't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. All right, we'll talk to you real soon. Where are you guys now?
Always a pleasure to talk to both of you.
Where are you guys now? You're in Colorado.
Well,
Where are you now? You were in Colorado the last time we...
No.
Where are you now? Where are you now?
We're in northern Missouri.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Randolph County.
Randolph County.
Oh, cool.
So-
Okay, we'll be out.
We're
Missouri.
Close to
north of the 70 corridor.
Okay.
Trying to stay out of Tornado Alley.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's no reception and
Really?
we have satellite now. Boy, was that a mistake. So we have one windstorm and then we're down for a week.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Until they get
Okay.
someone out here.
Oh,
So
good.
we're going to be going back to DSL.
Sat TV. Yeah. We were
DSL. Are you serious?
we weren't planning to get them as a sponsor.
Seriously, DSL sounds better at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We'll talk to you
reverse
guys.
those letters. LSD.
they're
would-
working.
Hold on. LSD.
Yeah, that's true. Then you wouldn't mind when the satellite's on.
No, yeah, exactly. You wouldn't know when it's
Oh,
up.
man.
Thank you guys for joining us. Okay, Matt and Tanya. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you real soon. Okay.
Thanks for having us back.
Greg Masto.
JJCC.
Greg
Nice
Masto.
number one, Greg. Just want to say you pulled it out. Nice number one. Right, perfect, baby.
It kept
Okay.
coming up, so I was just like, I hope he knows that's where I'm going.
No, we don't know. You're not really evil. Not in our eyes. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, because Matt brought it up a couple times. So I'm just
No,
like,
it's
I gotta
okay.
keep it
That's
on.
okay. That's his way of saying he loves you. Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate it. Okay. We'll talk to you soon. Coco, thank you.
As always.
Okay. JJ, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
For this.
Well, I'll talk to you soon. And we already did the plugs. We just should say that Homes for Our Troops, please Google them. Homes for Our Troops, they they build, and they give complete homes, no mortgage, to veterans of the Iraqi and the Afghanistan war. Our favorite military charity, Homes for Our Troops. Just Google them. Also, Sweetwater's Donut Mill out in Battle Creek, Michigan, who are now our official donut shop, if you can believe it. And go on to MackMaloney.com and click on the star, and you get into the Goodreads contest to win a autographed book of Sea of Moons, codename Starman, by Mack Maloney, on sale everywhere. And I think that's it, JJ, right? Have I done all the plugs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We're on Podbean, Alexa.
Yep. 16
Apple
different.
iTunes, the whole deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just Google us and you'll find us on the podcast. Thank you very much for everyone joining us. Thank you, gang. Until you hear us next time, this is Mac for the entire posse saying, be safe, be happy, and...
Bye-bye.